National Beef Month. So to give us her tips for making the best selection in the meat case at your grocery store, Joanna Coles is here today from the Warren County Cooperative Extension. Great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now you gave one of our camera guys, a pre-taste of these meatballs, but you have assured us that there's going to be enough.
There's going to be a supply because that's one great thing about farming. We have an abundance of food, and so I brought plenty for everybody.
Well, you're just so sweet. We're glad you're here today. Okay, now picking out what kind of meat to get at the grocery store can be kind of confusing. There's a lot of different labels and types. That's what you're going to kind of help us out with today.
Yes, because sometimes people get confused. You know, navigating the meat case with beef, especially because beef, we have over 60 different cuts in the meat case, and sometimes they have the same name, like New York strip, top loin steak. It's the same steak, but some grocers label it differently. So I can see where consumers might get a little bit confused when they're going through and trying to navigate the meat case, but it is so simple. All beef is great. You're not going to make a bad choice. And so, but there are ways to kind of navigate, to kind of make it a little bit more clear, because our beef producers are very excited. They take great pride into offering so many different varieties, so many different selections, and now with our convenience product lines, there's even more options for people to choose. But you see all these labels in the meat case, and you're kind of like, well, which one do I pick? What does this mean? And grain-fed beef is one of the labels that you'll see, and that is our traditionally raised beef that's on a very scientifically based grain diet for the latter part of their life. Like 4 to 6 months, they're fed this grain diet. But while they're here in Kentucky, we're a grass state. So they're on pasture, they're eating the grass and forages. So it doesn't mean that they don't eat grass, it's just that they are fed a grain-based diet. Okay, and then there's grass-fed beef, and those animals are fed a grass-based diet their entire life. Now, both grain-fed and grass-fed can have growth-promoting hormones and antibiotics given to them judicially, but that's still safe. FDA regulates that, and so that's still a safe product for you to have. It's just basically your preference. The texture is a little bit different, the taste is a little bit different. So it's really whichever one you prefer. Both are safe, super nutritious, 10 essential nutrients in every bit of beef there in the meat case, so you're not going to go wrong.
Just kind of whatever you prefer.
Yeah, it's just your preference, because we have different lifestyles, different taste preferences, and different nutrition preferences. And so we have all that for you. Now, natural beef is something that's a little bit new. It's somewhat harder to find in Bowling Green, but there are some cases where you can find some natural beef. Now, most beef in the meat case is natural because it's basically that it's been minimally processed. That's natural beef. No additives, no hormones, no antibiotics. And so natural beef is there. You can find it, but like I say, most of our beef...
A little harder to find.
A little bit harder to find. It is there if you so choose it. But there's no strict regulations on natural beef. Most of the time, the companies, they determine what their natural beef is.
Okay, they define what natural actually means.
And so it's just minimally processed. Now here we have some brands. You see like a Laura's Lean, a certified Angus beef in the grocery store. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean it's any better? Basically, those cattle are different genetics. The Laura's Lean beef are leaner animals, they're more muscular animals, and so they're a leaner product. Your certified Angus beef, Angus are known for flavor, richness, and so those cattle are just a different type of genetics. A little bit more flavorful, a little bit more marbling, and fat means flavor. So
that it does. That it does.
So that's the kind of the difference there. And then finally, the USDA Organic. We can find that a lot. In the grocers in Bowling Green. You'll find it. It's a small little label that looks like this down here on the bottom side. And that means they have to follow extremely strict guidelines to be certified organic. We don't have a lot of organic producers in the state of Kentucky, but we can get USDA certified organic beef. And so that has had no growth promoting hormones, no antibiotics, raised on a very specific diet of organic grains and products. So very rigorous to get through that.
Okay, now I want to get started real quickly on what we're making today. We are making the spicy buffalo style meatballs.
We are, and that's over here. Haley, I just had one quick tip about ground beef, because 80-20 ground beef is what we're using in the meatballs today, but if you're looking for that leaner type product, less calories, but you can't afford the $6 a pound 95.5 lean beef, you can take an 80-20 and you have 4 cups of hot water and you just kind of pour that over there and rinse this ground beef. And then we have a paper towel over here. We just kind of blot this. Okay, just kind of get that water off, and we have taken that 230 calorie ground beef crumbles to 130.
That quickly? Just by rinsing it like that?
Just by rinsing it and blotting it. So if you can't afford the 95.5, do this, and
This
you
is
have
a great
basically the
alternative,
same thing.
All right,
So-
we got to take a break real quick. When we come back, we're going to be making those meatballs. All right, we're back with Joanna Coles from the Warren County Extension Office, and we're getting started on those spicy buffalo-style meatballs. Joanna, what's our first step?
Well, our first step is get a pound of ground beef, and this is ground chuck, so it's an 80-20, so it'll be a good binding meatball.
Okay.
And so we have a half a cup of breadcrumbs, and you can either make these on your own,
And you
or
can get
you
whole
can
wheat
purchase
ones of
them.
that now,
You
can't you?
can,
So
yeah.
that would be good.
Whole wheat, that would add just a little bit more nutrition in there, and 1 egg beaten.
Okay.
And so you just kind of mix that, get that in here, and then 2 tablespoons of minced onion. We already have that minced. Stick that in there, and then 2 cloves of garlic, or 1 teaspoon of
Okay.
minced garlic. Kind of throw that in there, and then a half a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Really easy.
Okay.
Okay, so
This
it's
is easy.
not very complicated at all. And if you're running out of time and you don't have time to go ahead and make these meatballs from scratch, you can buy the all beef meatballs already made.
Yeah.
They're frozen, and then you can make the sauce that you're about to make, and then just kind of
That's smart.
cheat and throw them all together.
Because you
real
still kind
quickly.
of made them.
Yeah, you kind of made
Yeah,
them.
I made these meatballs.
Because the sauce is really what makes the meatballs.
Yeah. Okay,
And
so you're just mixing those up now.
Yep, just
everything.
mixing these up.
Okay.
And in
What
the
am I doing to
sauce,
the
it's
sauce?
really not that complicated. It looks like it's not going to be enough, but it will.
Okay.
And so you have 3 tablespoons of the hot sauce there, and you can use your favorite wing sauce or hot sauce. And if you like it a little spicier, you can always use more of that if you'd like.
Okay.
And then that's honey. That's going to give it some sweetness there, a tablespoon of honey.
Okay.
And then butter, real butter, because we
Oh,
want to
good.
support our dairy farmers.
Okay.
And real butter makes it so delicious. And
Okay,
so
that's
you
it?
just,
Just
that's
these 3?
it. That's it. You mix that together,
Okay.
and then that kind of makes your sauce that you're going to put on there. Because a lot of times we think buffalo, we think chicken.
Yeah,
but
that's true. We were saying that during the break. I've never had a buffalo sauce on a beef
Yeah,
recipe. So I'm
yeah,
excited
but
to
you
try
can
this.
definitely do that. And a lot of times when we think this is going to be really hard making the meatballs and all that kind of thing, and sometimes it is. But I have a trick to show you to kind of make this just a little bit easier. And so we're going to put this on here because a lot of times, Haley, when I'm making meatballs, I make some of them big, some of them small, and they're not very
Yeah.
even. And so they don't cook evenly. And so this way, you just kind of pat them out and cheat. Use a knife and make a grid of them.
Okay.
This recipe makes 32 meatballs. And so basically, you just cut your 32 meatballs, roll them out, and put them on there.
Okay.
And so you can evenly score those.
Yeah, that way they're all kind of close in size.
Right.
That's good.
And
Okay.
so, but while I'm doing that, we already have some meatballs that are
Okay.
finished. They're
So these are
already
done.
cooked. Those are cooked
Okay.
350 degrees for 18 minutes on your broiler rack that's already sprayed. And
Okay.
another nice tip is to put foil under there, and so it'll catch all the grease and make it easy cleanup.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to be having a party, having these appetizers, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen cleaning up.
Okay.
So,
Super easy. Okay, and then we've got our finished product over here. I see you've
Yes.
served it with, is that ranch?
it's blue cheese.
Blue cheese.
Blue
Good
cheese. But
idea.
you could do ranch and some
Okay.
celery sticks there. But all these recipes are in the Healthy Beef Cookbook. It has the basic meatball
Yeah.
recipe, and then you can do a lot of things. Greek, buffalo style,
Yeah,
all
you said
kinds
you
of different.
tried several different kinds.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, you have this base and you can mix it up. Okay, you're giving away one of these cookbooks.
We are.
Okay.
All they would have to do is go to Warren County Agriculture's Facebook page
Okay.
and tell me what their favorite beef dish is. And then we're going to have a drawing for this cookbook tomorrow morning, and we'll announce the lucky winner there and mail them the Healthy Beef Cookbook because there's a lot of great recipes in there to
man.
celebrate.
So you're going to announce it on your Facebook page.
Yes.
Who the winner is. Okay, and so it's Warren County Agriculture just there on Facebook.
Right. Warren County Agriculture, tell us your favorite beef recipe.
Okay, and if you try these meatballs, they might become your new favorite beef recipe because the sauce feels so good. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. All right, make sure you enter for the Healthy Beef Cookbook. So many good recipes in there. We'll be back in a second.